Inkjet Printing Masterclass, Lesson 5. Now this is the last section on Section 5, which is the Colour Inkjet Printing Masterclass, and this section 10, deals with the essential further training that you will need. Now, what I'm trying to do here is to open the door to a huge series of huge libraries that will enable you to complete the areas of your photographic education that you feel you may be a little bit lacking. We've got 4 main areas which I'm going to go over with you. So this is essential further study. In this modern age, colour inkjet printing to a high standard is just one possible outcome of an almost infinite number of possible other digital products which you're able to profit from. The only barrier between what you're doing now and what you could be doing in the future to expand your business and to expand your possibilities is your willingness to take on board new skills. Now, it's not going to come to you, you've got to go to it. If you're willing to allocate a little bit of time, and it's not expensive, it's not very expensive, you can put yourself out there, particularly nowadays with online facilities. There's fabulous resources out there. Now I reckon it's my job, because I know where these resources are. We've run a training company for years and years. With our industry contacts, there's no reason why we can't lead you towards what we consider to be the most appropriate training resources for you to develop not just yourself personally, but your business development also. So let's get into this. When photography first started, there was only one possible result that you could get from a camera: a glass negative, which could in turn be processed into a paper print. Arguably, the next major step would be to take a photographic image and publish it onto a printed product, such as a newspaper, a book, or a leaflet. Now, in my opinion, an equally vast leap of technology allows us now to capture an image digitally and to distribute it easily and cheaply to virtually everyone worldwide using numerous media options. I mean, look what I'm doing here. I'm sitting in front of a camera in my own home talking to potentially thousands of people. I won't say millions. One of my clips is just approaching 1 million hits. So that tells you what you can do when you sit at home in front of a camera. You've written a script, which I've done. I've prepared screens. I'm talking to many more people than ever I used to. I used to do a lot of presentations to camera clubs and exhibitions. But of course, my audience now is many hundreds of times bigger than my audience used to be. I'm getting a little bit older now. I can't do the traveling I used to do, but I'm now finding myself using technology to enable me to talk to my existing customers and new customers around the world reasonably easily. My camera, incidentally, is a little smartphone. It's not an expensive camera. My TV is the TV I use normally. These backdrops are all done in Photoshop, and I create these on my little laptop. So I've got a tiny little smartphone I'm looking at, I've got my own TV, and I've got my laptop. How easy is that? That's what technology and clever little bits of software can do for you. Incidentally, one thing I should say, what I deliver now is very low level quality. It's the equivalent of Bollywood as far as I'm concerned. If I make a mistake, I just carry on and I read from a script shamelessly, but at least I deliver the content accurately and I'm getting it out there and I'm able to issue a lot of hopefully valuable information that'll be valuable to you very easily. And I've generated a lot of content over the years. When we come to these professional presentations, they are of a completely different level. Marrutt Software Training, all of the presentations there are in professional studios. They're fabulously well researched and presented, and without exception, all of the software training and techniques training that I'm about to show you is on a completely different level of professionalism to a fella like me just talking into a smartphone. So don't think that I'm introducing you to a lot more of these sort of fairly amateurish presentations, because that's not the case. Now, in order for you to get to grips with this technology, you need to be able to get yourself up to speed, and you need to be able to keep yourself there so that you can talk on an equal level with your clients and any of the IT people within your clients' departments. It's nice to talk on a level on a level with them, rather than sort of struggle to grasp what they're actually saying. These training facilities will help you to do this. Now, you need to keep yourself up to speed for as long as you're involved in commercial digital imaging. There you are. You see, I've taken a script and I've just put it down on the floor. I've got my scripts behind me, incidentally, and I've got them fanned out like so. So every time I finish a subject, I can pull my screen down. I don't even bother with an auto cue, because an auto cue is too expensive for me. So let's go to the next screen. I press my little button on my little laptop here, and it changes my screen. Can you see how easy and basic some of these techniques are? Now, let's go into our own business a little bit, because it's nice for you to see a real business and see how we do it. Now, for our own businesses, the absolute minimum requirement at the moment is a range of great websites that represent our group of companies, constantly updated and refreshed on a daily basis. Add to each website a Facebook page kept current with news, offers and technical bulletins. A regular commentary is provided by our Twitter account. Add to this our Instagram presence and our blogging via WordPress. We publish on the printed page via either litho printing, digital printing or in-house high-speed inkjet printers. Digital duplication we perform in-house onto DVDs and to CD-ROMs. We create our own audiovisual content direct to the internet via basic QuickTime movies, what we're doing right now, straight onto YouTube to reach a worldwide audience of over 500,000. 10 years ago, we had to buy in virtually all of our digital resources. Now, almost everything is created in-house, because we take time out to learn the techniques and the software applications. The software applications are supposed to be easy to pick up, and we just trust that they're pretty intuitive, and they are. But we need the starting. We need to start from somewhere. So these the training methods I'm about to tell you about, these will help you. Now, we learn these techniques and the software applications ourselves via computer-based training. We had the advantage of being a distributor of software training from way back. So we knew the best sources and the low-priced methods of access. As a creator of high-end professional photographic images, you will need a low-cost but top-level source of ongoing training, not just to learn the essential steps that lead up to a great colour print, but also enable you to expand your knowledge into areas which your customers will pay you to help them. Now, we're talking about website imaging, creation of various varieties of online content, video capture, storyboarding. Help your customers inhabit the world of Google, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and many more digital environments which are being developed right now. Your talents in image capture can easily be developed to include telling a story for your clients, educate, inform, inspire, and entertain. Now, one thing to mention here is you might go into a multinational company and you see the managerial setup and all the various levels of people, but there aren't that many people who can actually know a good image when they see it, and actually to create a good image. There's a fair number of people out there in these businesses that know IT to a reasonably adequate level nowadays. So we're not talking about going in there like an IT specialist. We're talking about going in there as an imaging professional, and that's what you are. You're an imaging professional with knowledge of how to apply these skills out into the digital world. So this is the way that we're going to transfer our imaging talents into the digital world. Let me introduce you to 3 great online training resources and one golden nugget that could easily improve your business profitability and your quality of life. See, I'm just changing my script again. Here we go. See how I'm doing it? I'm reading from my script and I'm changing my script. You can hire an auto cue. I don't like auto cues. They intimidate me. I like the old-fashioned. I like to do it the old-fashioned way. So we press our button on the laptop, and here we have the next screen. Now, the first resource I can tell you about is our own resource, which is our own Marrutt YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/user.marrutt, but in actual fact what you can do is just go to our Marrutt website, the home page. Right at the top of the home page on the right hand side there's a little YouTube logo. You click the YouTube logo and there you are. Now if you have a website, you really ought to have a YouTube channel as your first line of explanation. Websites that have a lot of video content really do themselves a lot of favours. Imagine that you're thinking of buying something from one of 2 clients. You're going to check them out. They're 2 competitors. You check their website presence out. One's got plenty of explanatory, small, brief videos just to explain the product. You don't have a professional actor. I'm anything but at least, you know, over time you gradually get the confidence to put yourself in front of a camera and to explain something that you're pretty well knowledgeable about. You're not changing the world, but you're just explaining a particular aspect of something that you happen to know about. So there's nothing to be nervous about. You're simply explaining a product or explaining a concept. So what we do here is try to persuade you to include a certain amount of video content into your own website. Imagine you've got these two websites. Who are you going to buy from? Are you going to buy from the person that demonstrates it, that actually demonstrates it to you, or you're going to actually sort of read about it and then you've got down the bottom, click here. They're a similar price, but at least this product, you've seen the person that's selling the item, you've seen the price. Who are you going to buy from? It's obvious. Now, this is our own complete free training portal containing brief overviews of professional photographic inks and papers, because that's what we do. We sell tons and tons of ink and paper, fabulous American professional photographic ink and fabulous German professional photographic paper. We sell tons and tons of ink and paper every month to a worldwide audience. So what a wonderful way of getting the information across, that on the web, via YouTube, and by our websites and all the other electronic forms. Now, detailed presentations of the most popular Epson and Canon desktop and wide format bulk ink systems, refill and continuous inking systems are described here virtually in real time. I like little brief videos when you're introducing, but I like to get down to the nuts and bolts, and I know our customers like it, to actually explain in real time how something gets put together, how we can save them money, and how we can help them to develop their the profitability of their business, which, let's face it, that's what it's all about. So we've got simple presentations explaining how to get correct colour on your various Mac and PC platforms, with the correct method of creating test target printouts, for instance, for custom printer profiling, for colour and for producing monochrome. Comprehensive printer maintenance and fault finding videos, really important, because we're trying to put something back into the industry. We know that people, they want to run their printers for as long as possible. So in order to do that, we want to enable them to maintain, to keep the printers going. And of course, you've got this huge project that we took up. We started about almost a year ago now. It was a complete. We decided that we would create this thing called an inkjet printing masterclass. Not just little brief clips, but we wanted to really give you every little bit of accumulated experience that we'd had over the years. So the complete inkjet printing masterclass is available right down the bottom of this page, and you've got every single clip, every single video in the series. So that's lessons 1 to 6 inclusive. Remember, there's another lesson after this which looks after black and white printing. I'm really looking forward to that. Now, the next area that you should be looking at is it's our own company, Marrutt Software Training. We're very good friends in the industry. We distribute and we present for you a huge library of computer-based training, not only downloadable, and a lot of it's free of charge incidentally, but also you can actually buy the CD, and you can not CD, the DVD, and you can take in the course. But the advantage there is when you finish with it, that DVD has got value. You can actually pass it on to your associates or other people in the same department, or dare I say, you still have value in that training course. So there you go. Now, this is softwaretrainingtutorials.com. Now, it's a complete. They are complete online training courses created by top industry experts, with the first few hours of training free of charge. So every single one of these titles, they give you a fair bit free of charge. And funny enough, the first part of the training is usually the important stuff. So if you dip in and out of these titles, very valuable. Now, the idea is that we're going to allow you to see the first parts of the training courses to tempt you to buy the CDs or DVDs or download the whole course at a reasonably sensible price. Now, here's the list. We've got a list here of the titles that we have. We virtually cover all of Photoshop. If you can imagine all the way back, all the old versions, a lot of us like to run old versions of Photoshop. So by all means, if you've got Photoshop CS3, for instance, just go back over the library. We've got it, and you see the amount of training that you've got in total here. So we don't just dip in; we go into it in great detail, which means to say that you can pick out the important parts of the software. One little tip about learning software: it's like a Formula One racing driver's toolkit, huge toolkit. In day-to-day work, we only need a few of the tools, but those few tools that we do use, we want to learn to use them very, very well. So you'll learn to use the spanner, you'll learn to use the screwdriver, you'll learn to use the torque wrench, you'll learn to use the socket set, and that's about it to start with. But occasionally you want to dip back into the manual to find out how you use the feeler gauges and things like that. So in that way, we would advise you to do the same thing with these courses. You can dip in and out to bring your knowledge up into certain areas. They say that most people only need a third of Photoshop. 2/3 virtually never gets used. But that 1/3 of Photoshop, you need to know how to really be productive in Photoshop. So bear this in mind. We cover the entire range of Photoshop. The latest ones: Creative Cloud, 13 hours, CS6, 13 hours, plus all the earlier versions. Lightroom, the latest version of Lightroom, 9 hours, plus the earlier versions. Elements 12, 10 hours, plus all the earlier versions, remember. Aperture 3, 6.5 hours, earlier versions. HDR, high dynamic range photography, 3 hours, plus a lot of application training there. Brand new Photoshop techniques for photographers, which is 2014, 9 hours of Photoshop training. Now we want to commit ourselves into the web. We need to get web savvy, and again, don't be intimidated by the fact you've got 7 hours of training in Joomla. Don't be intimidated. Out of that 7 hours, you might have an hour of intro. You've got introduction and concepts and how to start it up and how to start things. You know, you can dip in and out of these training resources quite nicely and come back to them. Dreamweaver is a really important. Dreamweaver will create your website and will enable you to keep your website up to date. So this is a really important one. Dreamweaver CS6, 11 hours. And remember, we go back over the earlier, we've also got the earlier versions as well. Responsive web design, 4 hours. Very important. What used to be the old-fashioned search engine optimization, well, the big companies have pulled the plug. So things have changed a hell of a lot in search engine optimization over the past few years. So we need to talk about responsive web design, 4 hours. The big news nowadays is content marketing, and content marketing is what they talk about here. WordPress, this is all about blogging and having an ongoing blog on your websites and keeping your customers informed and having a one-way and a two-way conversation, 9 hours. And search engine optimization right up to date, 2014, 8 hours. So the old search engine optimization gone out the window. We need to reboot our thinking about how we get on the top of Google. Google wants you to pay for AdWords and all the rest of it. There are ways and means of getting visibility, but there are a lot of websites now that have dropped all the way down the rankings, and they need to know, your clients need to know how to get back up. And a lot of the solutions are image based, whether it's images to be placed on the website, but also video as well. Now, virtually every modern computer-based application for the visual arts is covered in depth, with hours of free chapters to allow you to get a true taste of the program you're trying to get to grips with. There we are, we changed the We change my script again. See these scripts that I'm doing? See how easy it is at a basic level to get your message across. We press the button and we change the screen. Now my third presentation here is lynda.com, Lynda.com. Now they are by far, in my opinion, the very best and the largest online training resource on the internet by a long way, with a huge library dedicated to photography at the highest level. Each course has plenty of free chapters for you to view to get a feel for the course. Then you can sign up to just a month of access to every single course for about $25, which is around £14.50 or 18.5 euros per month. Now, like me, you will probably get hooked and keep yourself signed in for a few months, but you can, if you wish, just sign up for 1 month, immerse yourself in this library of fabulous training, and then come away. I thought I was going to do that about 4 months ago. I'm still hooked on Ben and a lot of his associates in this library. I absolutely love it. I love to find out of the latest Photoshop techniques. It's brilliant. It's not just Photoshop. It's everything you can do. I'm going to actually show you now. Now, here we show Ben Long, my favourite photographic lecturer, and his unmissable course, Inkjet Printing for Photography. This is a natural next step from going on from the course that you've just seen. So, Inkjet Printing Photography, lynda.com, just look at it in the unpaid part, just the introduction, see if you like it. I'm sure you will. Now let me point you towards some of my favourites. Here we go. So we change it. So we've got these are the training courses, some of the training courses on lynda.com, and remember the first part is free, so you can review a lot of this already. So we've got Inkjet Printing for Photography by Ben Long, 6 hours. Shooting with the Canon 5D Mark III by Ben Long. Look at this, 5.5 hours of tutorial. Shooting with the Nikon 5100 by Ben Long, 3.5 hours. Product photography for clothes and textiles, 2 hours. Adobe Photoshop Creative Cloud for photographers with Camera Raw 8 fundamentals. How many of us really understand Camera Raw and processing? You know, we say we do, but do we really? This is fabulous. So with Camera Raw fundamentals, 3.5 hours with Chris Orwig is really good. Photoshop Creative Cloud for photographers with Camera Raw intermediate. So you've got the fundamentals, then you've got the next stage up, again by Chris Orwig, 5 hours. Now remember that we've got earlier and earlier versions of Photoshop there. So although they deal with the absolute latest Creative Cloud, they'll have CS6, they've got CS5, CS3 and before. They go all the way back. They don't just delete it, because a lot of us have the earlier versions. Enhancing Exterior Architectural Photos by Richard Klein, 2.5 hours. Enhancing Interior Architectural Photos by Richard Klein, 5 hours. Shooting a Photo Essay in 60 minutes by Paul Taggart, 38 minutes. I mentioned about photo, storyboarding and telling a story. How about that? What a valuable thing it is to have access to these really knowledgeable people. And remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Now, these are just some of the amazing, accurate and up-to-date online training available in this absolutely huge online library. Incidentally, I don't get any kickback from this. I don't work on commission from any of these companies, apart from Marrutt, of course. They're our businesses. But as far as Lynda, we don't get any commission, and we wouldn't want to commission, but it would be disingenuous of us to not to tell you about this fantastic resource. So we don't get any commissions or anything like that. Now, it's an absolutely huge online library which is all accessible once you join up for just 1 month at a time. You can cancel any time you wish. There are over 400 photography courses made up of over 22,000 online video lessons. Here are the categories for photography, bearing in mind that you have also got access to all their other training categories also. So there's business, there's motivation, you name it, it's there. So we're looking at camera and gear. You've got 64 courses. Portraits, 45. Lighting, 44 courses. Masking and compositing, 39. Sharing photos, 32. Instagram, all this. Raw processing, 30 courses. Retouching, 30 courses. Photo management, 28. Colour creation, 15 courses. Projects, photographic imaging projects, 15 courses. Printing photos, 14 courses. Documentaries, 13 courses. Now that's great because it goes into the histories of the real great photographers. So we want to get into the mind of some of these great and the insights, some of these great photographers. You've got it all there. Photography foundations, the basics, 13 courses. High dynamic range photography, 10 courses. Compositing, 2. Creative spark, really important if we need inspiration, if we feel we're getting stale, 5 courses. DSLR video, 6 courses, pretty well what I'm doing here. Flash photography, 9 courses. iPhone, iPod and iPad, 9 courses. I heard last week that Apple are now, their valuation is twice that of Microsoft. So we can't any longer ignore the giant, which is Apple computer. So we've got to get to grips with Apple, the Apple environment, the Apple their mission, if you like. It's important to get into their way of thinking. Night and low light, 6 courses. Plugins, 7 courses, that's really good. Restoration, 9 courses. Retouching, 6 courses. Scanning, 4 courses, really important for us if we're photo libraries, that sort of thing, or we've got a large library that's out there in the various formats. How are we going to bring it back into the digital into the digital realm so we can archive our work without losing quality? Well, scanning gives you that. Sharpening, got to be careful there. 5 courses, tells you how far to go. Visual effects, 4 courses. So we've got a lot of things here for you to look at, and this is just part of it. Now, don't be intimidated by this huge library of training. Just dip in and out as you wish. Take what you need and leave the rest. And it's nicely laid out for you so you can look at the most recent, and all the older stuff are further down the line. So if you just want what's there at the moment, you won't be bombarded with a whole list like that in one go. You'll be presented with the latest stuff and you say, oh yeah, Photoshop, I need help. Dreamweaver, I need help. I could do with knowing about my particular camera, bit of lighting, bit of business going on there. We need to know where we can get the help. Now, this is the golden nugget. Most of this course, this colour printing masterclass, has been devoted to the techniques, the technical side of actually getting you to print a fabulous colour photograph, a colour print. But because we're dealing with professional photographers, it's not good enough just to produce the print. It's not good enough. It's only half the story. The other half of the story is what we're going to do with that print. How do we make money out of that print? A lot of our work nowadays is to create wedding albums, for instance, portraiture, social portraiture as well, commercial work. How can we get into the commercial world? We've got something that we want to sell. We know that we should be involved. How do we get involved? Now Mark Lawrence, with his day-long courses really does the trick. So his website, eastparkphoto.co.uk, and the section you need is the business. So eastparkphoto.co.uk, the business. Unlike the previous training resources we've been looking at, which deal mainly with the technical side of high-end photography, Mark has spent years running successful photographic businesses and has lectured directly to professional photographers over the past 10 years. His intensive marketing course for photographers enables you to analyse and develop your business, forcing you to question whether you're making the most of your talents, your clients and your opportunities. He's one of the few people I would travel across the country for to take his course, and I have. If you're from outside of the UK, why not email Mark from his website and see if you can persuade him to put his business of photography presentation online. It would be brilliant, so that all of his wisdom we can share worldwide. I think it would be wonderful. In the meantime, his all-day lecture is worth its weight in gold to the future of your photographic business. He has my strongest possible recommendation. See him if you can. Now, I feel that in your professional life, once you stop learning, you stop living. I find personally that there's a huge satisfaction in taking in these training presentations, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce these fantastic resources to you. Now, be sure to look out for our 6th and final lesson in this series, and it's black and white printing masterclass. See you there. Thank you for watching.